So here's what I want everyone to do. I want everyone to introduce yourselves, tell us where you're from, okay, and then tell us something uh weird about yourself, and then tell us something about yourself in the spirit.
Mhm.
Okay? Can you think of these things? All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call on you one at a time. Okay. So then it's not this weird, awkward silence for taking up minutes of our time. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start with our old
Asking.
people. Okay. When I say old, I don't mean how old you are in the earth
That's no, no, no.
or even
Please,
how
please, madam, you're on your own. Yeah, but you asked me to don't put that
oh,
thing.
Lorado, I think
No.
she's with Sadie, her little one. I can tell. That's cute. Okay, so how about let's start. I'm going to go with the people who have formerly been in this class. That's a better way of saying than old people. Okay. But I'm going to start with River the Bald. Okay.
Did you call me River the Bald?
I
I
did.
like it. That was good. That was good.
Thank you. Okay. You wanted me to tell me something weird about you. There's so many things weird about me.
Wait, tell everybody where you're from first.
Oh, I'm from Washington State, at the Pacific Northwest of the United States, and I'm from the far northwest corner, kind of one of the last places that you can come to in Washington State before you're out of Washington State and in the Pacific Ocean. Um, and A small town in Port Angeles is a small town. Um, let's see. Weird about myself. I lived in an intentional community for 7 years, 150 people and 75 kids. It was a vegetarian community that was health focused. And we worked a lot with mind body connection, uh, um, emotional healing, and how that you can actually get to that through understanding things going on in your body. There you go.
Sweet.
Was there
Okay, now
something else?
tell us something about yourself in the spirit.
Ah, in the spirit, I am uh, relatively new with doing this. I don't know, 3 or 4 years maybe. Um, and my one of the identities that the Lord has given me, Father has given me, is as a repairer of the breach.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Thank you, River.
Mhm.
Okay, next I'm going to go with Amanda.
Zoom did something new, right?
Oh gosh, they're always doing something new. I can't even keep up.
It's weird. Anyway, my name's Amanda and I'm from San Antonio, Texas. And something weird about me, mm, I like to watch high speed chases on YouTube. And I like to watch when they pit the cars. I don't know why, but I'm sitting there yelling at the video, pit the car, just go ahead and pit him right now, pit him right now. But yeah, I mean, I like to watch those videos. And then something about me in the spirit is that I am a peacemaker, and it is me calling chaos into order. And what I'm learning is that my voice, not just the tone of it, but I kind of want to say the authority of it brings a lot of that into order. That's me.
And I forgot, but did you tell everyone where you're from?
Yes, I'm from
Okay.
San Antonio.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, cool. Okay, how about next? Let's go with Pearl.
Pearl Jones. I am from England, United Kingdom, part of the United Kingdom. I'm from the southern part of the United Kingdom, so right at the bottom, but to the east, it's a place called Essex. Now, Essex is the largest county in England, and it's also the driest county in England. Something weird about me in the spirit. I once saw myself as a boy dressed in identical outfit, standing next to Jesus. Something weird about me. Oh, I'm trying to think.
She's
Oh,
just
I
so
don't know.
normal.
I know. I don't know. Can I think and come back to you?
Yes, you can.
Thank
You
you.
can do that. You know, the truth is, I know I'm a super weirdo, but I can't think of anything weird about myself either right now. So I'm just glad I'm gonna go last. So okay, how about let's go to Karen.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I'm from Houston, Texas, all the way down at the bottom. It's usually pretty warm here in the United States, and Houston, Texas is usually pretty warm. It's a little chilly today because it's like 60 something degrees, and so I had to put on my sweater. I'm like, what?
Oh,
It's
come
so
on.
cold. I'm cold.
I'm jealous.
Okay, so let's see. I'm trying to think of, I'm sitting there trying to figure out something weird about me, but I love all this weirdness that we've been talking about. Maybe that's weird. I don't know. But I love all the weirdness that we talk about. And actually, I can remember in my childhood seeing aliens. How about that?
There
That's
you
weird,
go.
right?
That's a good weird
Yeah,
thing.
that's the weird. Okay, okay. And so something that God has revealed is he told me that I was a restorer and that I was going to do something in the government of God. Um I'm still learning a lot about this. I'm fairly new to this, so that's some of the things that I have learned about. All right.
That's cool. Thank you, Karen. Okay, so Annette just joined us, and I just want to let you know that we are introducing ourselves, telling where we're from, something weird about ourselves, and then something about ourselves in the spirit. Okay. All right. So you can prepare for a while. Just want to let you know. Lorado, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. Introduce yourself, lovely.
Hi, my name is Lagato from South Africa, motherland. The weather here, it's cloudy, it's raining. Um, I'm with my son, so there will be a little bit of sound, background sound. Um, I'm not sure what are the weird stuff that I do. Well, I think being a Christian to the world is a bit weird. That's the only times I remember being called weird when you're still following Christ and doing things according to his ways. In the spirit, I am destiny revealer. Yeah, revealer of destinies. Yes. And I've been here the shortest. I'm like the one who's more new. So I'm more like 1 year old in this journey, engaging. To be precise, it's exactly 1 year.
Wow,
Yeah.
exactly. That's exciting.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. Congratulations
Yes.
on your anniversary. I forgot you did start in our classes in January of last year. Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Thank
awesome.
you.
She decided to sow into her healing journey, right?
Yes.
Yes, that's cool. Awesome. All right. So, how about next? Let's go to Renata.
Hi, I'm Renata. I actually don't live in Norway. I'm from Norway, lived here most of my life. But right now, I'm home for holidays, but I actually live in Taiwan. So that's where I've been talking to Christine from. I don't know, something weird about myself. Maybe you could ask Annette. I don't know if there's that much weird. We are friends. Annette and I are friends from Norway. But I know some people think it's a bit weird that I'm a bit of a nerd and I like watching like private economy programs, like kind of like nerdy financial things. Not like typical me, kind of. And I don't know, something in the spirit, I felt like God has been starting to show me about the different mountains I have, and that one of them is a knowledge mountain and what that means in the spirit to have a knowledge mountain. Yeah, so that's like some of the things.
Yay. That's awesome. Cool. Guess what, Renata?
What?
We learned last week, we were talking about scrolls, Destiny scrolls, and who was it? One of you. River Pearl. I can't remember who it was. Who was it?
Pearl.
Pearl has a knowledge mountain. And I'd never even heard of it before you. And so it was really cool to see that you guys share that. And so I thought
that's cool.
Yeah. Very cool. Okay. So how about next? Let's go to Annette.
Sorry.
No problem. Annette is trying to unmute right now.
Okay. I was like, I couldn't find my button. I was like, where? Okay. Something weird. I'm Annette. I'm from Stavanger, Norway. I live here, born and raised, friends with Renata. So that's how I got introduced to this. And I've done like a couple of the three, almost one full round of like Sunday. I did 3 Sundays. So I'm excited. Something weird about me. I don't think it's weird, but I swim in the ocean every day. And I just got back from swimming in the slushy waters. It's 23 Fahrenheit at the moment. Woo! So chilly and nice. So I'm going to go with that. I didn't quite get what you were talking about, like something in the spirit. What?
Something about yourself in the spirit. It could be anything.
Oh, it can be anything.
Yeah.
I think I'm on a journey of like figuring out more of, am I a seer or is it the revelation, like the knowing? Because I've had a few like knowing things, like even from when I was a child. My mother had, for instance, like my mother had lost a diamond ring and we were out looking for it all day. And as it was completely dark and we were going back to the cabin, I was like, wait, I know where it is. And I went down to the ocean and like lifted a rock and it was under there. And like, there's no way I could have known. So I'm like, okay, so sometimes I'll just like know things. But then I feel like I've had a lot of prophetic words about saying that I'm a seer. And on one of the Sundays, I saw the scepter again, and we had a conversation about that. And that is a prophetic word I've had and things I've seen a lot of times where people say, I see you with a scepter in your hand, and wherever you point it, angels are released to their assignments. And so I think something about me in the spirit is like trying to figuring out, and why I'm on this thing also is to try to understand more, what does that look like? And because sometimes I'll see things and I'm like, well, what do I do with it? You know? So I think maybe that's something about me in the spirit.
That's awesome.
See and know a lot and don't really know what to do with it, I feel like. Yeah. If that makes sense.
It does, of course. Okay. I think everyone here could relate to that. Yes.
Also, I'm obsessed with England, so.
Oh,
Yeah.
You must go
And
see Pearl.
the States. So it's like my two favorite countries. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
It's okay just to love England without loving the States, Jeanette.
It's not.
I know.
It's not okay, Pearl.
Just saying.
I mean, yeah.
Oh goodness. Okay, Jimmy, are you ready?
Yes.
All
My
right.
name is Jimmy Black. I'm from Destin, Florida. A weird thing I like is classical music, and in the spirit, the Father just revealed to me I'm called to shift atmospheres.
Yes.
Is it?
That is very cool and true. Awesome. Okay, well, we have other people in our class who will join us at some point, and maybe they will join us today, maybe not. I got a message last minute about a couple people who couldn't make it today last minute. So if you can't make it, it's okay. We will always post recordings, just so you know. So there will be recordings that'll be posted in that group, that WhatsApp group. So if you miss out, you can't be here for some reason, you can always catch up with that. Although one of the people who can't be here today, Yahim, he is my media assistant now, brand new media assistant. And so he will be posting the videos and stuff. But today, since he's not here, he is not going to be recording it. Therefore, it'll still be on me. That means it might come later than you want it to come. Okay. This is why I'm getting a media assistant, is because it is not always easy for me to get those things accomplished. But anyway, I just want to let you know that that's where you can find that stuff. The other thing is I want to give just, okay, I'll introduce myself and then I'll start giving kind of some expectations of this class for some newbies. Okay. But okay, you know, I'm Christine. I'm from Kansas in the United States, right in the very center, landlocked, no oceans for thousands of miles. And so I am one of the few who doesn't get to experience that sort of thing very often at all. But that is where I'm from. One thing that's weird about me, okay, pretty much all the things, most of the things that are weird about me is everything in the spirit. So I'm what I consider to be a complete weirdo in the spirit, and I love it. It is something I always say, embrace the weirdness, and I really think that that is something that we should all live by. We are supposed to be the peculiar people, right? So I'll tell you something that probably many of you don't know about me. One time I had this experience when I very first started engaging, probably a couple months in, maybe. I was totally obsessed with engaging at this point. Okay. Like super obsessed all the time. I was trying to engage in the heavenly realms and have Yeshua lead me in everything I was doing, and just really about sanctification and figuring out what he wanted from my life and all the mysteries. And I was so into it that I was at this conference. Mike Parsons, some of you might have heard of him. He's from England. And lucky Pearl. Anyway, so I was at a conference. He was called to come to Kansas, the exact city I live in. Can you believe it? And when he was, I went to this conference. There were only like 30 people at this conference, really little conference. And it was fabulous. And I just had so many confirmations in my spirit and was learning and growing and all of that. And which made me even more obsessed. You ever get like this? Just me? Okay. So I was even more obsessed then at this point. And I was with a friend and we went out to the parking lot and she goes, "Oh my gosh, Christine, you have light coming from your pores." And I'm like, "What?" And I look down and I'm like, no, that must be glitter. You know, I wear a lot of makeup. And so, um, and so she goes, no, that's not glitter. And so she goes and she pulls up my shirt to show my stomach, which don't ever do that, by the way. I am not the person that I want you to see my stomach. Okay. But anyway, she did anyway. And sure enough, light was coming from all of my pores and I was emanating light. And so that was kind of a wild experience. And it was like the transfiguration is how I felt. And it was a really cool time and super weird. So there's the weirdness. Something about me in the spirit. The Lord told me I am the closer of the book. And when I asked him what that meant, it has to do with when heaven and earth are renewed and the restoration happens. Okay, so when there's a new heaven and earth, basically the end of the old and the beginning of the new, I'm the one who kind of is there to bring that about and is the last of the old. I don't know if that makes sense. So anyway, oh, hold on. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, there we go. I'm glad you said yes. Sorry, my daughter was connecting her AirPods and it connected to my computer and I'm like, no, I can't hear anything. And so, okay, it's fine. Anyway, so there's the weirdness and who I am. I have lots of different things about myself in the spirit, as you will probably find out as we keep going. But here, let me just give you an idea of what we're doing in this class, how it goes, and things to expect, and also things that I expect from you. Okay. So first off, I'm excited that you're all here. We love community in this class. Okay. This is a huge part of why we're here. Not just about learning and growing, but it's about having others that you can share your life with and engage with and grow with and all of that. Because almost everyone in this class is on their journey a bit alone. Okay. So not everyone's totally alone. There are some of you who know other people who engage, but in general, it's kind of not normal for everybody with the people around them. So this is the place that you can be yourself. You can be super weird. Okay. You can be vulnerable. You can not be perfect. Okay. This is a place where it's okay to practice and mess up. So if you are engaging and you're like, oh, I don't want to say this because I might be wrong, like get over that. All right. That's going to be something that you can't live like in this class. You're going to have to just step out in faith and take a step and see how it goes and fall and be lifted up. Okay. So everyone here, you kind of know that if somebody says something and it doesn't resonate with you, it doesn't mean you have to reject every part of who they are or what they say. You can just say, I don't think that's for me. Okay. And you can put it on the shelf for later or for never. But that needs to be something between you and the Lord. That if there's something that someone says, including me, if I say things and you're like, I don't know if I believe that, that's totally fine. You don't have to believe the same as me. I expect that you won't. I really expect that everyone here will be on their own journey, have their own ways of functioning and own beliefs, and that we will walk this in grace together. Okay, so there's that. Also, you won't have any official homework in this class, but I will have a certain thing that I am encouraging you to focus on for the week. Okay, and to practice. And it's also encouraged that you find someone every week from the class to engage with. It doesn't have to be someone you know. it could be someone that the time just works out. You will get to know people by engaging with them. That's how I get to know almost everybody nowadays. Is I'm just like, hey, nice to meet you. Let's engage. And so then I get to know them that way. And it honestly is a lot better than just getting to know them in the earth. So if you can, and of course, if you don't have the time to do that, you don't have to, but it's encouraged that you do that. And the reason is you're going to get to practice with other people. And as you will find out, it's way easier to engage the heavenly realms and start to experience things when you're doing it with other people. If you're doing it all by yourself, you'll probably have a lot of times that you go, I don't know why I'm just not seeing anything. And then you'll get discouraged. Okay. So don't get discouraged. Just ask to engage with somebody. Okay. The other thing is, if at all possible, I really like when you have your cameras on. If you can't, I understand, but especially if you all have them off, I will literally quit teaching. I can't teach to names. It's weird. I don't know why, but it's just a thing. I have to like see your faces to be able to interact and to teach well. And so please just treat this class like it's an actual class that you're in. Like if you were in person, you wouldn't be doing the laundry at the same time. So if you have to, you can, but please try to just put this time aside to pay attention. Okay. Like I said, you know, Karen every time has to drive after church or whatever she's doing to come. I expect that. I have another person who's in the class, Renelle, who never ever can come to class live, and she is only watching the recordings. If you see her message on the group, just know, she really is in the group. Okay. It's just she's interacting through the recordings and then engaging with other people. So just keep that stuff in mind. If you can, try to be respectful of everybody by being here on time if at all possible. If you need to be late, no big deal, but it's easier if we can start on time. Okay. Today, Renata was the only person on time. Kudos, by the way. I saw you even get on early, but I wasn't ready to let you in. And so I respect that so much. I really do. I feel like it honors my time and it honors everybody else's too. And so if you can do that, please do. If you have to be late, no problem. Grace on grace. But yeah, just try. Cool. All right. So all of that out of the way. Today, we're going to be talking about, oh, wait, what, Pearl? What?
Sorry, it's okay. No, sorry.
Go ahead. What is it?
No. Just something weird, but it's fine now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine now. Sorry.
Okay,
Sorry.
no problem. I'm trusting you. All right. Well, so today and most days, what we'll do is we will engage in the heavenly realms together. Sometimes it'll be at the beginning, sometimes it'll be at the end, sometimes it'll be in the middle. But we're going to engage in the heavenly realms together. And usually what we do is we focus first in the heavenly classroom. What you may or may not know is that we are doing this class from the heavenly realms. There are classrooms in heaven, and this happens to be one of them that we're in, okay? And we have tons of people in this class, actually, not just people, but other beings. So there are other heavenly beings and angels who are also in this class. You probably have a heavenly team that is with you in this class. I will say this, I haven't said this in a really long time, but everyone in this class has a scribe that is in this class to help take notes for you. And so you're welcome to take notes in the earth if you want. In fact, it really helps certain people to do that. So by all means, if you're that person, do it. But if you want to go back to something, just ask your scribe. And you're like, crap, I don't know how to do that. You just go, hey, Lord, who's my scribe? Can I meet this scribe? And then ask, hey, can you just remind me of what this was? And have the scribe do that for you. Okay. So you can do that even if you don't make class. If you're not able to be here, River is often speaking at different churches and has to skip. And so if she's not here, she can ask her scribe, hey, what happened? Can you just let me know what happened in class? Of course, she can watch the recording too, but that's really helpful. Okay. So already I am sensing that some of you are like, wait, what? This is a little too much. Don't be overwhelmed. It's actually really freeing. The coolest thing is, there's someone in our class named Nidia. She's not here right now, but one of my very favorite things is when she first joined Cohen Gadol, which is the name of this ministry school that we're in, by the way, if you didn't know that. When she first joined, we talked about our scribes, and at that time, in that class that I was doing, it was a Ministry 101 class, and they had homework every week. Okay. So there were questions and you had to fill out the homework and turn it in, that sort of thing. It was a lot more intense. I think it was good, but it was also, you have to be really intentional. But anyway, we were in class and everyone had a scribe, and some people got to know their scribes really well. Other people didn't, just kind of whoever wanted to, had the desire to, right? Well, Nidia was one who got to know her scribe. And she was always talking to the scribe. And there was one week where she did not have time to write out her homework. And she asked the scribe to turn in the homework to me. And she just thought, oh man, this is the very worst. I'm the worst student. She felt terrible about it. But when she did, she said to me, hey, I know this is strange, but I didn't have time to do this. And so I asked my scribe to turn in my homework to you. And I was like, yeah, right. Okay. I'm just going to be honest. Like, this is how I was. I was like, really? Okay. Yeah. Just being lazy. This is in my mind. I'm terrible. I know. That was my fleshly response. And then I thought, well, I'll see. And so I was like, this means I got to engage and I better be on point, because I don't even know if I can tell if they're giving me the homework, And so I start to engage. I'm like, Lord, does Nidia's scribe have homework for me? And all of a sudden I got this download of knowledge, like this knowing of everything. And I was told she forgot to do this one question. And so after that, I was like, wow, I am so proud of her. Like, this is what it's supposed to be like. People really need to interact and use them like they're supposed to be used. So I went from darn Nidia to, wow, she's the most amazing student, And so anyway, I told her about this and I said, hey, I just want you to know that I was told that you forgot to do this one question. And she goes, oh my gosh, you're right. I did totally forget. And so anyway, that was really good confirmation for me and my faith. Just in walking through that and going, am I getting this right? I still do that too. And so that was pretty cool for both of us in that way. But that's something that you can do if you are struggling with anything. It doesn't just have to be in this class. You can have your angels, whether they're a scribe or not, help you with things like that. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is working with your angels. Okay. So this is, some of you are like, yeah, I do that all the time. Others of you are probably like, what? I've never even met an angel, you know? So we're going to have a big difference in how people function in this class, and that's okay. I want you to know that wherever you are on the journey, it's fine. And sometimes you'll hear things. I know that there's someone in our class who the first time I talked about this was like, that sounds evil. I'm not doing that. And so just didn't do it. And it was fine. And now actually she does engage with angels and it's fine. But it took her a while because she didn't feel like that was okay. And there are going to be things that we talk about in this class that you're going to be like, I don't know if this is okay, because we have had these constructs for a really long time about how we can do things spiritually or not. And so that's one thing I want to talk about with my journey with engaging with angels. Okay. I grew up, I can't really say I grew up. That's not true. But I was in the church for a really long time, kind of what you consider a normal church. Okay. Some of you might know the denomination United Methodist. That is what I was ministering in for a long time. Okay. So if that tells you anything, it's totally not mystic. They really don't want anything to do with like mystic anything. Okay. So even not even charismatic, no sort of prophecy or working in the gifts even. Okay. So very, very conservative. And so that's kind of my background that I was in. During that time, I was a closet charismatic, I would say, but I still had a lot of the teaching around me was very conservative and not really talking about anything like engaging angels. All I knew about angels is I could ask God to send angels to like protect, maybe comfort somebody, maybe. But that's it. And I don't even know where I learned that. That's just something it was kind of known. If you want to, you can ask God to send them, but you definitely don't interact with them, which is interesting because you know how I said I was a closet charismatic? In the charismatic movement, I definitely learned that you should talk to fallen angels, though. You should tell them their place and that they need to go and, you know, all these different things. And you should definitely talk to those guys, which is so interesting. I didn't connect like, I didn't even think that it was weird that we were talking to fallen angels, but not like heavenly angels. Didn't even cross my mind, actually. It just was something that I knew. I kind of angels are untouchable in the way of I don't interact with them. The first time I saw an angel, I was blown away. I was like, oh my gosh, I just saw an angel. Now I'd seen tons of fallen angels. I saw in the spirit realm of the earth really well. That was something I didn't mean to do. It just kind of happened. And I started out my journey as a Christian getting attacked by demonic stuff all the time. And so I learned to look for them. That's what I trained my eyes to do. So I was all the time looking for them because I was scared of what they were going to do. And I wanted to avoid them. And so I really always tried to look for demonic things. I never really thought about looking for angels. It wasn't something that occurred to me. The first time I saw an angel, I was like, whoa, I've never seen an angel. And I thought, no one sees angels. Does anyone see angels? And I didn't tell anybody about it at first because it was like too weird. You know, one of those things that people would talk about seeing demons, but nobody talked about seeing angels. And so I didn't say anything to anybody for a long time. And when I first started engaging heaven is when I first started hearing people talk about interacting with angels. And I was kind of like, is that okay? You know, And because, we never been taught in the church that that was okay. But I was kind of like, is that okay? And then someone said, hey, I want you to read Acts chapter 12. Have you guys read Acts chapter 12? I'm sure most of you have. Let me tell you this, just going to university, I had to study the Bible all of the time. I was a religious studies major, and because I was going into ministry, I've read through the Bible so many times, it's ridiculous. But somehow I miss stuff every time. And so when I read Acts chapter 12, I was like, wow, there's a lot of angelic stuff going on in just this one little chapter. And this chapter is when Herod is coming after Peter, puts him in jail. Okay. He puts him in jail. He has all of these guards guarding him, and an angel is sent to break him out of jail. You guys know that story probably, right? And so an angel comes and gives him very specific instructions. Hey, put on your shoes. Now put on your clothes. Now put on your cloak. Now follow me and let's walk. And starts like this angel starts telling him to do stuff. And what's really funny is that I never noticed this until recently. Peter was like thinking this was a vision and not actually really happening. And so he was under the impression that he was just seeing a vision and this wasn't happening, which is kind of how I feel I am half of the time. But anyway, so he didn't realize this was really happening at the time, but he was following the directions of the angel in the vision. And so he follows the directions, and then he is finally out on this road, and they've gotten out of jail and past the prisoner or the prison guards and all this. And he's on this road with the angel, and then the angel just disappears. And it says he comes to himself and realizes this is real. And he's actually out of jail. This isn't a vision. And so this happens. And then he goes to find people he knows. He goes to their house and he knocks on the gate. And this lady goes, oh, Peter's here. Peter's here. She recognizes his voice, but she forgets to let him in because she's so excited. So she goes and tells all the other people in the house, Peter's here, Peter's here. And they go, no, it's probably just his angel. And then she's like, no, it's really him. And so they go back and let him in, and he tells the whole story about what happened. But what really hit me is this whole like, no, it's just his angel. That would never be a response in the United States of America today. Okay. I don't know about where you live, but here, no one would be like, oh, it's just his angel. That's no big deal. That's like obvious. It's not a, what? To me, I was just like, why is it not our culture that this is normal, that angels are around, and that it's, oh, that's just his angel? I don't know. That would never happen. And I thought, why is it our culture, if someone says, oh, I saw an angel, they'd be like, okay. That's what they would do in my culture. There would be no place that someone's like, and except for maybe now that I'm in this mystic realm, but other than that, nobody would be like, oh, really? You saw his angel? That's cool. Or, whoa, you saw it. I mean, nobody would even do that. And so I just think it's really interesting that that was a major part of the culture back then. And somehow we have lost that. Mm-hmm. And if you look throughout the scriptures, angels are all over the place. They are doing all sorts of things. I mean, in that same chapter later on, there's also an angel who like strikes Herod down because he was letting everybody say that he was a god and he wasn't giving God the glory. And so this angel strikes him down. And then it says he was eaten by worms and died. And it's like, okay, so there are also angels that do that stuff too. I mean, there's just like so many things that I don't know how I missed, just in this one chapter, there's like a ton of angel stuff happening. And I didn't even think the angels were something we should interact with, or, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's pretty crazy. So I start my journey with, okay, Lord, if we're supposed to interact with angels, do I have any angels? That's what was my question, you know? Because if Peter has an angel, I mean, I might have an angel. Because they said, oh, it's just probably Peter's angel. So I'm thinking, well, Peter has an angel. Sounds like him. Do I have an angel that sounds like me? I mean, I'm just wondering, like, why would they connect those things? And I don't know. And so I said, hey, Yeshua, do I have an angel? And then all of a sudden, it's like he opened my eyes in the heavenly realms, and I saw my throne that was on my mountain. And there were two angels standing kind of behind the throne where I was sitting. There was one like on this side and on this side. And I was so excited. And I was like, Lord, can I meet my angels? And then it's like I was taken somewhere else and did something else. And I'm like, dang it. This is usually how it works with me. He never really tells me no. He just redirects me like a toddler. And so anyway, I kind of went after a lot after that. And I was like, okay, every time I'm engaging, hey, can I meet my angels? And then I'd be led somewhere else. And this happened a lot before finally he let me meet one of my angels. And the first angel I met, you know, I don't know any better. I don't know what I'm doing in the heavenly realms. So I'm just acting like it's how it is on the earth. So I'm like, hey, what's your name? And I get this name. Now, let me just tell you, I don't hear in the spirit. So when I interact like this, I don't actually hear it like other people or like a normal conversation. It's like I get this knowing that I also question, am I getting this right? Okay, so I hear Shemiel. And so I write it down. Shemiel says. And then I said, okay, Shemiel, what do you do? Because I'm like, what is this angel? What's his specialty? You know, does he have gifts? I'm trying to figure out, like, who is this guy? And so he tells me that his main job is that he takes messages to the throne and from the throne of the Father during worship. And I was like, that's interesting. And he says he manifests in the earth like a beam of light. And so I'm like, okay. And I thought, well, that's different. Didn't know there were angels that did that. You know, I'm just thinking my worship goes straight to the throne without any help. I don't know what I thought, but, you know, that's just how I think. And so anyway, after this experience with him, I'm the doubter. And so I'm like, I think I might be making this up. And so what do? It makes no sense. I Google it. Like, Google will have all of the records of every angel that exists. I don't know why I did that, but that's what I did. And so I went to Google and I'm like, Shemiel angel, just to see. Sure enough, here we are in Mystic Judaism, and it shows Shemiel, an angel. What does Shemiel do? He manifests as a beam of light, taking messages to and from the throne. And I was like, no, this is real. You know, this has been a thing. Someone else knows Shemiel. And so all of a sudden, my faith is confirmed. And like, you know, I'm built up in the faith, like I can interact. This is something. And so anyway, I was so excited. And so I started interacting with Shemiel, especially during worship. So here we are worshiping, and I notice once I start interacting with him, I start kind of singing everything. Pearl, go ahead.
When you say you were interacting with him
Yeah.
in praise and worship, what were you doing? What was the interaction like?
That's a great question. I think I have a way when I interact, it's like I'm It's almost like if you were with me during worship and I'd be like kind of rubbing up on your arm and we're here together, this is happening, you know what I mean? It's not like I was really talking. But it's like I was acknowledging him being there and like we were together, and anything that I was feeling from the Lord, it's like I gave it to him to give to the Lord. Does that make sense? But what I noticed happening after that is I started singing all the time. And I used to be a worship leader. That's what I did. That's what I actually went to school for, was for music and worship. And so I used to be a worship leader, worshiped all the time, loved, was passionate about worship. I sang all the time. But there came a point where I had to give up being a worship leader because of health reasons. And when I did, I just never really went back to it. Never felt led to. I still loved worship, but it wasn't the same. I just kind of quit singing as much. And so when all of a sudden I started singing all the time, it wasn't just I'm singing random songs. Like any time I would be communicating with the Lord, I would start singing. So if you know me, I don't really pray like other people pray. So I don't pray with words usually. I know that's strange, but I don't really talk to the Father very much. I have like this heart communication thing that happens. And I found myself singing in tongues all the time, which is really weird because I also don't speak in tongues very often. And so, but all the time I'm like, whatever, you know. And so that, I'm making that up. That wasn't real. But anyway, that's kind of what I was doing all the time. And I found myself like anytime I'm communicating with the Lord, I start singing. And I realized it was because like Shemiel was kind of rubbing off on me, if that makes sense. We were starting to act like one another. And it was so interesting because that isn't how I expected interacting with an angel would be. I didn't expect that we would become like one another. Even though I read the thing about the whole, oh, it must just be his angel, you know, I didn't really think about that in my own life, that maybe the angel would start acting or sounding like me and I would start doing that like the angel. And so that was kind of a new experience for me. And then eventually I got to meet the other angel. And then after that, I started meeting angels that weren't assigned to me. They were just angels that were somewhere else. So like, for instance, there's this angel who is really one of my favorites. He actually is a leader in this class. You just don't know it. Well, maybe some of you know it, but his name is Arius, and he leads the teaching of the angels in this class. So this class that we're in right now. Okay. And Arius, I met him first because we were at this building. I say we, I work with the Source Wichita Ministry, and we used to have a building downtown where we all met locally. Okay. Before we ever had any online stuff. And at the building is where I met Arius. He was the angel of the house. And he was like a protector there. I only kind of interacted with him in the spirit realm of the earth first, not in the heavenly realms. So I saw him. He was like taller than the building, and the building was 3 stories tall. So he was really huge. He looked kind of like a gladiator, which was also strange. He never wanted to talk. He was very shy. I shouldn't say shy, maybe introverted. He was intimidating to the enemy. So that's why I say he wasn't really shy. I mean, but he didn't talk and interact very much at first. And he also had to do with finances. And that's how I started to get to know him, was there. I started to love him more than any other angel I'd met. It was kind of funny, not love him in a romantic way, just like a family kind of way. And I would sometimes just go drive by the church downtown so I could say hi. I know it's weird, but I would do that just so I could be like, hey, Arias, what's up? And that was something I just loved interacting with him. And eventually I learned the first time I went and spoke at a conference. That's not true. The second time I was speaking at a conference, I went to Texas. And when I was going, he is the one who showed me that I couldn't speak there. Oh, that's you, River. Okay, I'm eating you. All right. Anyway, so he's the one who showed me that I couldn't speak there unless the angel of the house there welcomed me to speak. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. And so he went to talk to the angel of the house to kind of negotiate. I don't know if that's the right way of saying it, but to talk to him and get them to welcome me in. And so that was cool. Learned some new things. I started to learn after that everywhere I went, Arias went with me. And he always was kind of negotiating with the angels or principalities of whatever territory I was going into or anything like that before I went. Now, I don't understand why that's necessary. I'll just tell you that. Haven't really figured that out yet, but I have figured it out that it is necessary for me, at least. That's something that I need. Some people are like, well, I can go into any territory anytime and I have free access. Well, good for you. That's awesome. Apparently I don't. So for some reason, I know he always goes and makes sure it's okay. And so there have been times when I was not welcome in. And there have been other times when we went and I couldn't go into a place until the person who was there interacted with the angel of the house there to then welcome both Arias and me in. And so that has happened before. I feel like I learn as I interact. And so as I kind of develop relationships and have more experiences with them, I learn more things. One of the things I learned is that we have a responsibility to activate our angels. So the angels that are assigned to us, we are responsible for activating them. And if you don't activate them, they often are around, but they're not doing anything. They're just bored to death. And okay, that sounded, I shouldn't say to death ever. They're bored. Okay, they're bored. Anyway, I was shocked to find this out. The other thing is I kind of thought once I activated them that they were just good to go, that was okay. Hey, angels, could you go and just make a barrier on my property to protect my property? Sure. Angels come and go do that. And then I just think they're forever there protecting, except for then something happens. And then I go, what the heck, angels? Weren't you supposed to be protecting? Okay, this literally happened to me one time. I'll tell you, I had my angels that I activated to be with me and protect me. And one time I was going down the stairs in my home and I was pushed down the stairs by a bad entity. And after that, I was ticked. And I was like, why weren't you protecting me? I mean, I got mad at them. I know that's silly, but at the time it seemed justified. Okay. And so I was mad. Why aren't you protecting me? You're supposed to be protecting me. And so then I went to the Lord and I was like, why weren't they protecting me? And he said, why are you blaming them? You didn't activate them. You're supposed to activate them every day. And I was like, I didn't know that. Then I felt bad. I'm like the one who's actually the irresponsible one, not them. I couldn't blame them. I didn't realize I was supposed to activate my angels every day. I just thought once I did, then it's done. And so he started showing me there are certain things that have to be done every day. And I'm like, okay, how do I know what that is? And he said, I'll just show you. And so he shows me, he still shows me certain things I need to do every day. But that's one of the things that I have to do every day. I started activating the angels of my family members after this. And then there came a time when the Lord showed me I can't activate my son's angels anymore. And I was like, why? Why can't I do this? And he said, because he's now responsible for doing it himself. And he was 9 years old at the time. It doesn't matter in earthly age. It matters how you are in the spirit. Okay. So he had started governing. So he had started like on his mountain every day, going and doing the things that he was led to do on his mountain. So he started governing. I know it's young, you might think, but actually, if you raise them like that, it's not that young. But my girls, they weren't doing that yet. And so I could still activate their angels. And so it's interesting. I also learned at that time, my husband wasn't doing it either. He wasn't responsible, old enough in the spirit to do that either. So I could still activate his angels. So it really has nothing to do with age. It has to do with where you are in the spirit. How mature are you? Are you taking responsibility as a son, or are you still kind of asking like a baby? You know what I mean? And so that was something I learned, was that I have to do this every day and I'm responsible for it. And so you can kind of just ask the Lord, is this something I'm supposed to do every day? Do I have angels that are mine, that are assigned to me? What do they do? You know, ask all the questions. That's what I encourage you to do. And if you don't get anything, don't be disappointed. You know, I asked a million times before I got anything, remember? And I just kept asking, but obviously I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't ready when I wanted to be ready. So the Lord redirected me. But I want you to know that there are angels who do all sorts of things. Lots of angels have different gifts, just like we do. So I might have, okay, both Pearl and Renata, they both have a knowledge mountain, we found out, right? And so that's pretty cool. But I guarantee you they're very different and do other different things as well. So they're not going to be the same in every single way. It's the same way with angels. Okay. They have different personalities. They have different strengths and weaknesses, just like we do. They have their own free will. You know, I used to think, well, angels just are perfect and all knowing and obviously super obedient to do everything that the Lord says to do. And then the Lord is like, hey, remember all those angels that decided not to follow me? And I was like, right. Yeah, a third of them. And so I realized, wow, I don't know why I thought that they didn't have a free will. I don't know. I just thought they're automatically perfect and they have all the spiritual knowledge and all of the will. And that's not always true. So just know they're like us. They do have a free will. Not exactly like us, of course, but similar in more ways than you might think. And so ask them, is this something that you can do? If you have something that you need, like for instance, one thing I am constantly doing is I'm working with healing angels. So I do a lot of healing for other people and I need a lot of healing in my own life. And so I'm constantly led to work with certain healing angels, especially one. His name is Jophiel, and I work with him a lot. And then he has like other ones that are kind of, how do I say, under him, working under him, kind of like he's a boss man. Okay. And so anyway, I don't know them. I know they're around, but I don't know them personally. I just know Jophiel. And so, they're probably going to be angels that you end up working with often, and then others that you just once in a while come across. And it's okay. Like for me, I don't know most angels' names. Often people will ask, "Hey, can you ask the name of my angel?" And I dread that question more than any other question that anybody. No, there's another question. Should I divorce my spouse? That's the first question I hate. And then the second question is, what's the name of my angel? Because I told you how I don't hear well, right? And so it's like really hard for me to discern things like that. I try, and I have done it very successfully in the past, but I also have very little confidence in that area. So I really don't like it. If you can seek your own, that'd be great. Or find a hearer, someone who's really good at hearing in the spirit, because we do have those people in this class. And so if there are people like that, you can ask them to help too. Pearl, go ahead.
When you mentioned that we should ask the angels their names, I was still rather, okay, I was going to say skeptical, but I'm learning not to be. So I was one of those who's like, my prior knowledge was you shouldn't be talking to angels. But I'm going to say I'm there. I believe you should now, because the Lord showed me they are a part of the family of the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
So somehow I still did not ask the angel specifically his name. I decided to go to Father instead.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Father as we were sitting opposite each other. And I said to the Lord, I said, Lord, you know that angel that is, I'm always standing next to him in the throne of praise and worship. And when everyone is just praising God and I'm standing next to him and he's moving as he's praising. And I had done that for almost a year whenever I intentionally think about him, especially in church. But on this particular occasion, not in church, I'm standing next to him and he simply disappeared and went to the throne of God, way out up front. And even though I am not close to the throne of God, I could see near. So I saw the closer you are to the throne of God, the light around him is different. So the light around him, rather than it being like a whitish, cloudy color for the most of the angel and us way back here, closer to the throne of God, is more like a firelight kind of thing. So you have like the amber orange colors. So the angel that summoned me to heaven by a sound, which I followed and then ended up next to him, as he got close to the throne, he took something, he came back to where we normally stand, but he had this huge, what looked like a blanket of the same color that he took from next to the throne of God. And he threw it over me. So I said to the Lord, because I got asked the name, I said, Father, what's the name of that angel that went and got that blanket of a different color? It's like I didn't feel the heat, but I knew it was like a blanket of fire, even though I didn't feel it around me. And we're talking, but somehow the Lord never gave me the name. But when I woke up that morning, the first thought that came to me was this: Lord, you know, I was talking to Uriel. And I went, oh, quick, write that down. That's the name of the angel.
That's so fun.
So even though I didn't ask him, and I asked the Lord, and the Lord did not tell me his name, we just carried on with the conversation. in my waking hour, I came out with the name. So that's just another way of saying, yes, you can ask their names, because I have asked angels their names before and they have given them to me. And one wasn't very nice in the way he gave me the name because of his function. But as long as you ask and you're intentional, God is so faithful. Somehow he will let you know. Might not be instantly, but I think he is so lovely and he so wants us to know these things. He will find a way.
That's so awesome. I love that. You know, one time I was meeting with this guy when I was in South Africa, and his name was Cobus. And we were engaging, and then all of a sudden we were shown his angel, and that this angel of his was like not only assigned to him, but it was assigned to like his family, like his like generations before him, sort of thing. And I was like, wow, I've never really seen that before. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It could be all the time. I don't know. But it was like a surprise to me. And I was like, that's cool. And then so he's like, can you ask the name? And you know how I hate that. And I'm like, okay. And so I'm trying to like press in and see the name. And I keep getting like Yaakov. And I'm like, that I have to be making that up. I know that means Jacob, you know? And so I was like, okay, I'm going to try again before I say anything, right? This is how I am. It's like I always want to try again and get confirmation. And so I'm trying again. Maybe it's something else. So I'm trying, and I again like get that it's Yaakov. And so I'm like, okay. And I was like, well, I think it might be something like Yaakov. This is what I'm getting. And I said, I know that sounds a little strange. And he goes, oh, that's my real name. And I'm like, what? And he said, yeah, I go by Cobus because it's also my dad's name and his name too. And I'm like, this is amazing, you know, because I had no idea. And his name was really Yaakov. That was his name. And I thought, wow, his angel was named, and that might be why they're actually named that. You know how you kind of have this inner knowing sort of thing without knowing sometimes. And it just made me really like, wow, that's so cool. And I didn't know that that was ever a thing. And it's interesting because there have been angels that have done so many things that I don't understand. I remember I first saw this angel. I don't even know. I have no idea this angel's name. I don't even know what order he's in or anything. I call him a pinpoint angel because I've seen that these angels, they're just like as tiny as a pinpoint when they manifest in the natural. But they like go and they like pierce the heart with it's almost like some sort of thing that the father's trying to get them to truly understand or grasp. And so they just like kind of attack the heart of the person, not physical heart, but like, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, they kind of attack that part of the person to get that just deeply into a person. And it's so interesting because I remember seeing that going, that's just weird, you know. And another one, I saw this breakthrough angel that, and I realize now there are like lots of breakthrough angels. So definitely don't know that one's name because now I know that it's just kind of a bunch of them that do this, but they all have these axes, like these big, yeah, like a big axe. And they constantly, they're breaking these chains that people have to break through things. It is so interesting. I remember just all of these different kinds that I've interacted with now, ones that help fix technology. And gosh, I have these, I don't know what they're called. I call them like traveling angels because they go with me in my vehicle every time that I drive. And there are like 4 of them. They're on like each corner of the car. And I don't know any of their names still. I've been interacting with them for years now. Actually, it was really my kids who started this with them. I had this van. Are you guys tired of my stories? I tell so many stories. It's silly. I'm a storyteller. You'll find that out. But anyway, so I had this van, like a minivan, and okay, I've never been a person who had a lot of money. Okay. So when I have something, especially like a vehicle, I kind of run it into the ground. One of those I use it until it just won't work anymore. And so we had this minivan, and I got all my kids in the car, and um, I go to try to turn on the van. And have you ever put the keys in a vehicle and it's like it won't turn and you have to kind of jack with the steering wheel to make it turn? I don't know. Is this just me? Okay, so some of you are like, yes, that's the thing. And so anyway, that's what I was like, trying to turn it real hard so it'll actually turn over, to start the vehicle. But I just couldn't get it to work. And it would not, and it was just like stuck in that position where it won't turn on. And I'm like, come on. And so I'm like asking these neighbors, hey, can you come and try to help me? So they come, they can't get it to work. I'm thinking, I'm just a girl. I don't know how to fix things. And so I know not every woman is like this, but I am definitely that typical, like, find the man to fix stuff person. And so anyway, I'm like trying to find a man to come and fix turn this thing on. Nobody can get it to work. And I'm like, man, we really need to get going. And then Eden, my middle one, she goes, Mom, well, did you ask any angels to help? And I'm like, I didn't. I didn't think of that. And she goes, well, why didn't you? And I'm like, I don't know. Let's do that. So we just start, pressing it and praying and ask if there are any angels who can help start the van. And then silently between me and the Father, I'm like, Father, you better come through right now. This is my little one who needs this faith, And so I'm thinking, like, if it doesn't happen, I don't care, but she's going to really be affected by this. And so I was like, okay, let's try it again. Turns right over, turns on. Super excited. I'm like, yes, you were right, Eden. We just need to ask the angels for help. Well, turns out that this was a problem with my minivan, because then we went to start it to come home and the same thing happened and it wouldn't start. And so we were like, well, we better ask the angels to help. So press in, ask the angels, turns right over. Well, now I have this vehicle that I can't start it without angels' help. And so I used it for another year or two, always just asking the angels to help me turn on every time. Finally, I went to get a new vehicle and was going to trade it in, And so when I went to trade it in, they're like, hey, it won't start. I'm like, right. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm the only one who can get it to start because I ask angels to help me. And they're like, who's this crazy lady? Sorry, you're only getting $500 for the trade-in at this point. And so anyway, it was a weird thing, but I learned by that experience that they're really there and they're really wanting to help and happy to help. And so I have used them to do all sorts of things, to help fix my car that shouldn't work, all of these things. It's been a real thing for me. And so, okay, I see Lorato just said something. Does all angels' names have to be or align, be similar with Bible names? No, not at all. In fact, I told you about one already, Arius. I've never heard of Arius before in the Bible. There are lots of names of angels in the Bible. Most everybody is like, well, it's either Michael or, Raphael. Everybody knows about those angels because they were messenger angels, right? But hardly anybody knows of the angel. What was Peter's angel's name? I don't know. I have no idea what that one's name was, So there are lots of angels that are mentioned, that there was an angel of the Lord who came. It's often said like that in the scriptures. So they may not be named at all. But But there are tons of angels. I have now found, I said I had 2 angels that were assigned to me. Eventually, I saw that there were more than 2. And I was like, Lord, how many do I really have who are assigned to me? And he showed me that there were literally thousands. And I was like, oh, I did not expect this. And I realized I'm never going to know them all. That was something, it's kind of like I have thousands of followers on Facebook. I know some of them really well, and others I've never met before. They follow me, but I don't know them. And that's how it is with the angels for me. Some people are probably better at relationship than me when it comes to that. But for me personally, I only have like a handful that I know really well. And then the rest of them, I just are like, hey, is there anybody here who would want to help with this? That sort of thing. So I oftentimes talk to them by faith. So like I don't always get an interaction. Especially like the car angels, I will often be like, when I'm activating them, I'm just kind of acknowledging that they're there and doing kind of okay, let's do this. That's kind of what I do. I don't know how to say that. I don't actually talk, but it's that sense of activation. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we're working together and I just say, let's do this. Sometimes I will ask the Father, are there any angels I need to ask to do certain things? And so he'll tell me I try to every day am I always faithful? No, I will admit. But I every day try to ask the Lord. I go to my mountain and I just say, hey, anything we need to focus on today? And I just pay attention to what he's wanting me to do. And he often will remind me of certain things he wants me to do like daily. And that's one of them is activating angels. And so I'll kind of say, do I need to send them to certain people or do certain things? Sometimes I will make sure that they deliver things to the right place in the earth. I really have learned that now I like engaging with angels in the heavenly realms more than in the spirit realm of the earth. It's just I was so used to functioning in the spirit realm of the earth that's kind of what I started with. But in the heavenly realms, I'm more myself. It wasn't always like that. When I first started engaging, I felt like a foreigner. I felt like everything was really new. I didn't understand how anything functioned or worked. Now I'm kind of the opposite, and I don't always know how everything works in the earth, but I have a really good understanding of how everything is in the heavenly realms. And so
How would you know?
How would you know what?
How do you know when you function in the spirit realm of the earth or the heavenly realms? What's the key distinction?
Interesting question. Well, when I'm looking in or talking in the earth, in the spirit realm of the earth to spirit beings, oftentimes it's like I'm very focused here in this place. Like I'm recognizing that there's an angel right here, right? So if I am focused in the heavenly realms, I'm focused there and I'm somewhere in the heavens. So I might be on my mountain or in the throne room or in the courts or by the tree of life or something. I don't know. But there are all these different places in the heavenly realms, and I recognize that they're there. And how they manifest are different. So just like you and me, we manifest differently in different realms. So do they. So here, like Arius is this giant, stories high angel in the spirit realm of the earth. But when I engage with him in the heavenly realms, he's like the same size as me. And so I don't know how to explain that, but it's like, it's different how we interact. Now, everyone sees differently, and especially in different realms. And so even in different realms of heaven, angels or people or whatever will look different. And so there might be one realm that you see yourself as a boy, and then another realm where you see yourself as a queen, and then another realm that you see yourself as, if I'm talking about myself, as a gorilla, right? And so I know that's strange. You probably will learn this, but I have all these different things. For me, I see myself different ways in different realms. And so it's like that with the earth too. So I learn, if I'm actually, for instance, if I'm interacting with a fallen angel, there are only two places that I can interact with them. One is the spirit realm of the earth, and then one is the very lowest realm of heaven. It's where the lowest realm of heaven, you also will have your mountains and things, and so they will manifest like that there. They will manifest usually as dragons or snakes or something there. Here, they will often manifest as like almost shadowy, kind of black or dark, shadowy things that have form in a way. So that's how I see them in the earth. So oftentimes it's like I'm looking with my eyes open, and I see them with my eyeballs on the earth. Sometimes I sense them though, and I don't always see them. But does this make sense? You're looking confused still.
Okay, so a number of questions then, and I'm just summarizing for clarity for myself and understanding.
Okay.
Once when I asked who is the angel guarding my the front of my house, I was outside, and at the end of the drive, my house, and then the end of the drive, my eyes are open, and now I understand what you mean by the spiritual realm of the earth. So my eyes are open, it's natural, but when I ask, I then have a sense of knowing, seeing.
Yes.
So it's like I see this massive gladiator type guy standing on the left-hand side of the drive.
Yeah.
And he's very serious. You can tell he's prepared to fight. And because he's so tall, I went next to him and I said, "What's your name?" Right? And he just kept looking straight ahead. I'm down here, he's way up here, and he just keeps looking straight ahead. So I said, "What's your name?" And he kept doing this. A bit like Stevie Wonder, not realizing I'm down here, but he's up there. He's doing this. So I said, "Can you bend down a bit and tell me your name?" And I said he was a bit rude, but he's not rude. He was a bit terse, and it's simply because he was on duty. And this is what he said to me. When I asked him to bend down, he said, "I am on duty." So I said, "What's your name?" And he continued to look around, then said, without looking down at me, "Watcher, warrior." I asked the other angel that was on the right-hand side. So this is my property. One's on here and one's here. I asked the other angel on this side, "What's your name?" Now, this angel, also big, but he wasn't as fierce and commanding as this gladiator type one. And he just simply said, "Defender." And I had a knowing that they're there to defend my property. So that's the spiritual realm of the earth that you're referring to.
Yes.
Because I'm in the earth and I can see them. It's like the veil between the natural and the spiritual fades, and I can
Right.
see what's happening.
Right.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So when you mentioned then the lower realm of heaven, that's still in the fourth dimension, but it's like the lowest part of the king. Okay, I can't say the kingdom. It's like the lowest part of heaven, as it were. So that's where you have the enemy and all the fallen angels?
Yes, there are other angels and all of that too, and we can still function there.
And you said that's where we have our mountains?
Yes.
So why are our mountains at the lowest realm
Well, actually,
of,
they're in several realms. So it's not just the lowest realm that they're in, but they are there too. So our mountains and our thrones they manifest in multiple realms.
okay.
I don't understand why. I don't know. So I'm not really sure why there's a lower one. I don't really know. Okay, that's just my truth. So ask the Lord if you
Okay,
have that question. Yeah.
right. So in everything you've said, I'm trying to get the distinction between angels that are in heaven, in the heavenly realm, and angels that are in the earth realm. So when I met with Uriel, I didn't know it was Uriel at the time. So their form is more, I suppose, of the nebulous, like a cloud light, how I have seen them. Like cloud light is like you can put your hand through them kind of thing, but the form is there. Whereas the one on the earth, the appearance was more, he's solid, like solid in appearance. You can tell he's like, I wouldn't say of this realm, but the one in heaven, in the kingdom, wasn't like that. It's more or I can't think of like mysterious or whatever it is. And the other thing with that is that when he said his name was Uriel, when I came out of that encounter and I looked up the name Uriel, he literally was the character, or the meaning of Uriel is the character that I saw in the spirit, because he went close to the throne of God and he brought back this orangey, yellowy, huge blanket thing. And when I woke up and I quickly wrote the name down, Uriel, and looked it up on Google, it says Uriel means God is my flame, God is my light.
That's so cool.
So far, it seems like the role of the character of the angels that I have been introduced to reflect their names.
That makes sense.
I'm not saying all of them, but
yeah, I don't know for sure personally. I guess like even when you were talking about how that angel looked in that realm, there are lots of realms of heaven, and that same angel might look different in a different realm as well.
Right.
So I've seen angels in the throne that don't look like that as well. So even different kinds of angels look different as well. You know how I talked about how Arius looked really huge and Gladiator like, but then there's this pinpoint angel that looked like this tiny pinprick, you know, and then I've also seen angels that are just like these lights kind of and stuff, and yeah, and all that's in the same realm even. And so I don't know, I think there are just so many different kinds.
Of course.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Different classifications.
Yeah, I suppose
so. What's the difference between an angel and a spirit?
All of us have a spirit. I would say all beings, everything that is spirit is a part and manifestation of the Father. Even fallen angels are still a part and manifestation of the Father, even though they aren't working for him at the moment, right? They're still made by him, of him. And so even, you know, different things in the earth have spirits, like even trees and things like animals have spirits as well. And that's something that lots of people argue about. So if you don't believe me, go ask the Lord. That's all I have to say. But that's what I know of. Okay. So that's what he's shown me. I think anything that is made of him is made of spirit. And so there are different spirits. When people talk about different spirits, it just basically means different entity that's in the spirit realm, right? So it could be, you know, a spirit of lust, right? Would be some sort of lustful demonic thing people are talking about, right? Or a person's spirit, or one of the seven spirits. You know, there's so many different kinds of spirit. I think it's just kind of a word that is an overarching thing that has to do with a creation of the Lord, right?
Okay.
It's my guess. It's the way I use the word anyway.
Mm.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I would like to ask Renata about her knowledge mountain. How did you find out? How did that show up?
I was engaging with Christine, and then Christine said, I don't know if you remember this, but you said that you saw something about books, but there were things that were kind of unclear. So I wasn't sure what you meant, but there was definitely something with books. And then, so I was just, after that, I just went to the Father and I started to ask him about the mountains. Like, is there like certain specific books? What is this? What does it mean? And kind of, I think, because I was thinking of knowledge as something negative, because I've been learning about the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So it's not negative, but in my mind, it was like, okay, be aware of knowledge of good and evil. So I was kind of thinking, okay, maybe this mountain is about wisdom or understanding or something else. And then I felt like he said, no, it's knowledge. You have a mountain of knowledge. And I was a little bit like disappointed and like, that can't be true, because is that negative? Is that like, I don't know. I just couldn't really connect it. And then after that, I realized, so I was like, well, is it like, then I felt like he said, it's like the knowledge of the glory of God, but it's also connected to actual knowledge, like the books that Christine saw. It's connected to specific knowledge. But so then I've been going to my mountain several times and talking to him about it and trying to understand it, but I feel like I'm just in the beginning phase of it. Yeah. Do you remember anything else, Christine? We also engaged at one point.
No, you should
Yeah.
know this about me. You won't know this yet, but I engage with so many people, I forget almost everything. So a lot of times people say, don't you remember you saw this? And I'd be like, no, sorry, I have no idea. So I apologize. No, I don't.
No. Yeah. Like at this point, I don't know if this makes sense, but it's like I'm sensing things about my mountain, but it hasn't dropped down as words.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's like I was sitting on the mountain and I was like, oh, actually, it's a mountain. There's like levels here. Oh, you can go down and up. Oh, I can be on the bottom. I can be on the top. I see different things on the top. I have a different view. And then knowledge. Oh, it could be about Chinese, but it could also be about, like, I'm studying Chinese. And it could be about writing. Like last time I engaged with Christine, something with writing came up. And like something about manifesting writing to the earth through my knowledge mountain. And so then I've been sensing a lot. There's something here, and then someone also told me that under your mountain you have 6 divisions or something. So
about that, I believe you. I just don't know anything about it.
No, you were the one that told me. There's like
I did not tell you 6 divisions. There's no way. Maybe I told you that you have mountains under the mountains.
Yes, that's what you said. Yeah.
Okay, but there's 7. Yeah.
Oh, 7. Okay. Yeah. Minor detail there.
No,
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm just like, no, I don't remember any of that. Okay, sorry.
Thanks. I put it in the chat because I was wondering if those were the ones you were talking about. But then that's
I know.
education, right? And not knowledge. So I got confused about what.
These are the 7 mountains of society that you are referring to. And so this isn't your personal mountains. There are certain mountains that you could be assigned to of the society blueprint. So I could go on for hours. Maybe even next week I'll talk more about this, but we have our own blueprint that is with our own mountains, but then we are also connected to other blueprints. And so these other blueprints, our mountain is kind of under another mountain. And so, like, for instance, Lance Wallnau, he teaches a lot about the 7 mountains of society, these that you just mentioned. And that is different than what I'm talking about. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. It's not at all wrong. It's just different than what we're talking about with our personal mountains. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. Cool.
So how do we know?
Thanks. I was just confused when you were talking about
Yeah.
mountains. Those are the only mountains I've heard of. So I'm like, are you talking about those mountains or like, and then so I have to look it up and I'm like, oh, no, I guess not, because there's no mountain of knowledge there. There's
Right,
the
right.
mountain of education, which I was like, oh.
Mhm.
So when Renata was talking, because she's a teacher also, I'm like, oh, it's probably like the mountain of education. But then, yeah, thanks for clarifying, because I'm like, I wasn't sure what you guys were talking about.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks.
Cool.
So each person has 7 mountains. And how would you know if you have those mountains? And are the mountains individualized?
What does that mean?
Meaning that each person will have their own 7 mountains. It doesn't mean that everyone has 7 of the same mountains.
Correct. Yeah. So everyone has 7 mountains that it's basically areas of influence that the Lord has assigned to you. Okay. And so, or areas of responsibility. Doesn't mean that he will reveal them all to you at one time, but how do you know? By asking. Okay. So, or sometimes he'll just reveal it randomly, but most of the time you should ask and say, hey, can you show me my mountain? That's something that would be a good thing to start with. And then the second, what mountains do I have, or what mountains do you want me to see? And so for me, almost always, I don't see first, I know first. So I may not, for a long time, I recognized that I had a mountain. I sensed I was on my mountain. I couldn't see anything on my mountain. I didn't see like that. Okay. So for a long time, I was curious what my mountain looked like, because other people would be like, oh, wow, my mountain has all these flowers. And then another person's like, wow, my mountain's all snowy. And I'm like, I have no idea what my mountain looks like. And so I remember I was engaging with my sister, who sees really well. And she said, hey, can I see your mountain? And I'm like, yeah, of course. And she's like, wow, this is amazing. It's like everything is so green, and it's like it's just functioning on autopilot. Like everything's perfectly functioning. And I'm like, first of all, shocked, because I thought I was being irresponsible by not engaging every single day about the mountain. And like, you know what I mean? I would have guessed that it was in shambles. Okay. If it were me, I would have guessed that. And then the Lord showed me that it had to do with my intimacy with him, because I'm constantly focused on intimacy. But because I'm focused on intimacy, my spiritual life is functioning more on autopilot. So that's why your mountain is just a reflection of your life. So it isn't that you always have to govern. I was governing without knowing, because I was just spending time with the Lord and doing whatever he asked me to do. And so I had been doing that my whole life before I ever engaged. And so for me, it was just a natural thing. And that's why intimacy is the foundation of everything. So intimacy with the Lord will lead you into everything else you need. All the learning, all the growing, everything will happen first through intimacy. And so, for instance, we've been talking about angels today. Angels aren't the main thing. The main thing is relationship with the Father through Yeshua. Okay. So that's what you have to focus on the most. The reason people like Pearl, for instance, and most of the church are scared of talking to angels, which Pearl isn't anymore, but the reason she was is because we here don't worship angels, which is absolutely right. We should not be worshiping angels. But guess what? I don't worship River, even though I talk to her and get to know her and work alongside her. I love her, but I certainly do not worship her. And so I think we need to just think of things differently. We are not worshiping spiritual. I don't pray to angels. Oh, angel of the Lord. I don't do that. Okay. I'm going to be like, hey, what's up? Do you want to do this with me? Is this something that the Lord's calling you to do? Like, I have had angels say, no, I can't do that, but I'll find someone who can. I've really had an angel do that to me when I said, hey, can you do this? And they're like, no. Okay. And so it's good to ask and not just command. We don't need to boss them around. We just need to work with them and ask them, can you do this? Just like I'm not going to be like, Pearl, go write this thing for me. I'm not going to do that. Unless I'm being rude, right? I'm going to be like, Pearl, is there any way that you could do this? That's how I'm going to interact. It's going to be different. And so I would say, one, we need to be people of honor. That's the culture of heaven, is honor. And so honor one another, honor the angels, honor them for the gifts that the Father's given them. Always honor them, but don't worship them. Okay. We need to honor one another. We need to be those people that are respectful all the time. How I was treating the angels by getting mad at them for not doing what I asked them to do was stupid. Okay. I repent. I'm not going to do that anymore. I don't recommend any of you ever doing that, but that's how my flesh sometimes comes out if I'm immature and if I'm acting in an immature way. And so for me, I've had to learn along the way, here's what you should do, here's what you shouldn't do. And it's just by trial and error. So I hope that everyone here, as you start to engage with different angels, that you learn things that I don't know, because I'm sure many of you have had experiences that are far beyond what I've had. And I'm sure I've had experiences that are far beyond what you've had. We are all going to be super different and have different kinds of experiences because of how we function. And so for some people, it's very easy to hear angels, and they're talking to angels and hearing angels all day long. I have people I know who are like this, that they can't quit hearing the angels. And I'm like struggling to hear anything, right? And so I think it just depends on how we function. And that said, I can highly recommend asking the angels of lost and found to help find things you have lost, like keys and stuff. They're very efficient. So true. That is so helpful. I do that a lot too. I'm like, hey, will you please help me? Honestly, I kind of go first too. I did a court case one time in the heavens that had to do with lost and stolen things. And so I often will first go, Lord, there's been contempt. And then I will ask angels to help retrieve it. And so I do that a lot.
I need to get them to retrieve my memory.
You can ask. You know what? Here's what the Lord showed me about your memory, and about my memory anyway. He told me that at one point I was really struggling and I thought like I was starting to have dementia. This is true. And I was really worried because I was forgetting very normal things. And I went to my sister, like, Kim, can you please help me? I don't know what's going on, but can you engage over me? I think I'm losing my mind. And this is how I was acting. And she's like, okay, let's engage. And so we engaged. And actually, he showed her, not me, but since has confirmed it many times, that because I have been focusing so much in the heavenly realms, that almost all of my brain space, if you will, is being taken up by this heavenly things, and that all of my memories are being stored in the quantum realm. And so it's kind of like, I call it the cloud. Okay. So anyway, all I have to do is just ask him to retrieve it from there. And then it's so easy. I have noticed, like when Renata was saying, hey, do you remember this? I'm like, no, I don't remember. If I would focus in, yes, I could remember it. The Lord will bring it to my mind. In fact, one of the coolest things is when I don't even remember I've met a person. This happens a lot when I meet with people. You know, people book appointments with me. And there are people that they booked an appointment with me like 6 years ago, and I've never seen them since. And I don't remember them, but they book another appointment with me. And then I get on and I'm like, nice to meet you. And they're like, don't you remember we engaged? And I'm like, no, sorry, I'm sorry. And then we start engaging, and the Lord like gives me all that I need about them, like all these things that were memories of where I engaged with them, which I didn't even remember I met them. And so it's so cool when that happens, because I get this like such a confirmation that he really does have all that stored. And one of the things about me in the spirit that actually I meant to tell you about, but I forgot. I had prepared this. I was going to say this about myself in the spirit, and then I forgot to do it. But my main purpose in the earth, part of my destiny, is to help all of humanity come to a different way of functioning in accessing the collective consciousness, which is one consciousness that we all share, but most people think they're individuals. And so then they don't ever accept that that's a thing that could happen. And so it's all basically the quantum realm. And it's all about accessing the quantum realm, because everything is connected. And so we can at any time access anything that any of all humanity has accessed before. And so we just have to ask the Lord to do it, to help us. Anyway, okay. It's already 3:00. We didn't even engage, you guys. This is such a huge part of who we are. Okay. I will not require you to stay on. If you want to, I will be on and engaging, and you're welcome to engage with us if you want to stay on a little bit longer. Normally, class only goes for 2 hours. Okay. I happen to today have my appointment that's right after this that was canceled. So I get to stay on a little longer if you'd like. If you want to engage with us, what we're going to do is turn off our audio and our video, and then we will just engage together, ask the Lord to show us whatever he wants to show us. I really recommend asking about your angels in this engaging time. And then when we have engaged for like maybe 10 minutes, then we're not going to say anything during the engaging time. We're going to just do it silently and then share anything that the Lord shows us. Okay. And if you don't have anything that he shows us, shows you, just rest in him. It's fine. And then we can share that stuff afterwards. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, let's focus back here. Okay. I actually would like to start this time and share a few things because for some reason the Lord just had me focusing on a few, actually all of the new people's angels and stuff. And so let me just share. The first one that I was shown was Jimmy, and it's interesting because I saw Arrayas with him again, and I had just this last week seen Arrayas with Jimmy, and I'm kind of getting the feeling that maybe he's assigned to help Jimmy or do something with Jimmy a lot now. So anyway, Jimmy, Arrayas gave you keys, and it was like a set of keys. I saw at least 3 keys, but there might have been a lot more than that. I don't know. And I got the feeling that you should ask what the keys are for. But then later, after I was actually engaging over other people, he brought me back to you, and I saw this gold bracelet kind of thing on your right wrist, but it wasn't a real bracelet. It was like, it was keeping you, oh, how do I say? It was almost like handcuffs, but your hands weren't cuffed together, but it was like somehow keeping your right hand enslaved. I don't know how to say that. I don't understand it for sure. But I saw that on your right hand, but one of the keys that you were given was to unlock it and to release it. And so I don't know what that's all about, but there's something to start with that you can seek the Lord about at least. And then I saw next for Annette, and I know she's not on here, but I saw later after I wrote all of this down that she'll watch the replay. So hopefully she does. I saw her with this long, super flowy and floating hair that was like, it looked like it was floating in water, but there was no water. But you know that look of hair that's like floating in water? That's what it looked like. And it was super long. And I saw this angel who came up behind her and it was a very feminine looking angel. And this angel like came and was holding her hair and then started braiding her hair. And I got the real kind of knowing that this hair was really important. It's like part of her strength and wisdom, and that the angel was braiding it to kind of keep it secure and keep it safe. So anyway, I don't really understand all that, but I asked the Lord about it. And then Renata, I saw you had this team of 3 angels that was around you, and they were always working together. They weren't like separate kinds that do different things. They always work together, almost like triplets, even though I'm sure there's no such thing. I don't know. But they were always working together in everything they were doing, and they were there to help you. So definitely assigned to you. So anyway, yeah. That's all I got while I was engaging. Does anyone have anything that you got that you'd like to share?
That 10 minutes went really quickly. I didn't even settle into.
I'm sorry, but I'm also glad because I accidentally went 11 minutes and I was like, oh, they're going to think I have taken too long. And so anyway, okay, no problem. Amanda?
Yeah, I wanted to share mine. I know that y'all have heard me talk about my angel at my job.
Yeah.
And so I actually learned his name, the one that's at the building. His name is Seth.
Hmm.
And so he was there because I asked Yeshua to show me my angels. And so they were standing. And it was Lucas, who is the one that's with me. He's my guardian angel, and he's been with me for a long time. And we have a very, I cry, but we have a very intimate relationship. Like, you know how you were talking about how you loved Arias? We have a very close relationship like that. Even though that, like, here in the earthly realm, I'm not so conscious of it, but in the spirit realm, it's like really, really strong. And then I met Rob, who is the angel over the elevator, and he is not only the angel over the elevator, but he's also a protector. And then I had another. I have some angels that walk with me, and they're fiery angels. And then I have an angel that is over my vehicle, but he also travels with me wherever I go.
That's cool.
And so when I was engaging, I saw them. There's this area over there that's close to where I go to work, and it's like right outside of San Antonio city limits, right? So on one side you have like you have the city, and then on the other side you've got more like rural housing, country housing, you know, and stuff like that. And so the roads are kind of like hilly like that, you know, they go like that. And so I saw a group of angels on bikes, and they were taking flight, is what Yeshua said. And so they were going on these bikes, and they were going down that country road, and they were getting ready. They were picking up speed, and then they were going to take flight at the end. And so I was trying to see what that meant, but I'm not totally sure what it means. I just know that it has to do with protection and getting ready to do some things. Like maybe in that area, I'm not sure. So,
That's cool.
yeah, that's all I got.
Cool. Awesome.
So, since asking questions is not one of the things I'm really good at, I forget about, and I can't, and it's like I think, okay, what question? So I took the two questions that you had given us. Can you show me my mountains? And well, I'll first about angels, and what I got about angels was River, there's a lot of them. Just release them to do what they need to do. So I did that. Whatever you're assigned to do, whatever you're best at doing, I'm releasing you to do that. And then, and I was kind of focusing there, but what kept coming up was mountains. So then I said, okay, so what are these mountains? And what came up was, and I kind of pushed back on this one a little bit. I was a little, I don't know, questioning it. A couple of years ago, I had an experience in the heavens on the top of the mountain over all churches, where I had to plant this scroll in the headwaters of the mountains that flowed out over all the churches. And the Father said, so you actually have some authority here over the mountain over all churches. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I realized, well, wait a second, that makes perfect sense if my mandate is to repair the breach, because what the churches have done has been a huge part of the breach. And I appreciated what you had said about Krish, about part of your mandate is helping to bring the knowledge to individuals about how we're supposed to function as essentially spiritual beings in this physical world. And I'm like, and even when you said that, and I've heard you say that before, I'm like, well, that's really a lot of part of the repairing of the breach, which I think is what all of us are doing, some part of that same thing. And so I said, okay, well, what is what else? And so he said, well, the mountain of family. And it's like, through the work that I do, because he kept saying life to me, and I'm like, I'm not going to be in charge of the family of the mountain of life. And he's like, well, no, you're not in charge of it, River, but you have influence over the mountain of life. For those of you that don't know, that is my day job. I'm a director of what was considered 40 years ago when it was founded, it was a crisis pregnancy center, and now there's 3 of them, and then that's my work. And so it's like the education, it's like bringing awareness to, it's like continue. And I feel like I'm only just starting to really, well, it was like what Renata said earlier. It's like it's there, but it hasn't like settled in. And of course it's a day job, but it's like what the impact on a bigger level is, I don't know. So there was family, and there was also a mountain of life. And then there was also health and healing, which has also been a part of my life for a very long time. And then what came up was knowledge, a mountain of knowledge. And I'm like, well, and that has also to do with the repairing of the breach, is bringing that knowledge of that. There's a lot of different ways that people are going to come to that process of helping and being part of repairing of the breach. And part of it has to do with the knowledge that we gain of what's spirit, what physical, what's heavenly, and all of that. So that's only 5. I don't know what the other 2 are yet.
That's cool. Love it. Thank you.
Can I share a little bit?
Of course.
I felt like I was to go to my mountain of knowledge, and I asked where to go, and he said go to the top. And I could, for the first time sitting there, I could sense that there were angels there. I couldn't see them. I could just sense kind of that they were there, and that it was windy on the top. And I was like, oh, I can see really far from here. And then, I don't know, maybe I can ask you. And then I felt like he said, let's focus on the part about writing. I don't know if it's another mountain under, or if it's a division, or one of those 7 things under.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like he said, like, it's time for you to start writing. And I'm like, when? Well, you can start writing now. And he said what I heard, but I was like, is this him or not? He said, I felt like he said, when you write, you're releasing your word to the earth. And then I corrected him, and it's like, no, I'm not releasing my word. I'm releasing your word. But then it came a second time, and I felt like the same thing came. You're releasing your word to the earth. And it doesn't matter if no one reads it, because it's your word, but not apart from him. But that's what I heard, to the earth. And it's there on the earth. And even if no one reads it, not a single person, it's still being released to the earth. So it still kind of matters. And then I was like, well, is that even right? Because I don't want to do anything apart from him. Why did he say your word? Why didn't he say you're releasing my word or his word? Yeah, and then I asked him just what I can write about, and I felt like some things came up, like my walk of freedom, how I come into so much rest and freedom, living as a son. He's like, you can even do teachings, write little teachings. And then I told him that I feel scared to do it, and I feel like lazy, like, oh gosh, it's like so hard to get this disciplined and start doing it. So I don't know if there's anything I can do about that, but I was like, yeah, I don't know if you have a comment on that or about
I do. I have a comment on that. I felt like every time that you questioned, and you said, wait, but I'll release your word, not my word, right? And I just you said that 2 times, and every time I felt like just saying, but aren't you a creator too? You are a creator like he is a creator. the other thing is you are in him and he is in you. You are one. And
Yeah.
so you don't have to think of yourself as separate from him.
Hmm.
You are healing. You are writing. One of the things I kind of have become frustrated about in normal Christianity, is what I call it, is that people will say, no, I didn't heal him. God healed him through me. And I keep thinking, that's not really scriptural, because every time in scripture it says Paul healed him, or, every time it says that they did that. And it was, of course, through the power of Holy Spirit, right? But we are given a certain power as sons to do the work that he does. It's like he doesn't have to always do it. He's commissioning us to do it. And so I think it just shows how much he trusts you.
So he could mean that, like you're releasing your word.
Your word. Yeah.
Wow.
Can I add something to that too?
Thanks.
Of course.
Is that I completely concur with what Chris just said. And a couple of weeks ago, I was experiencing something happened, and I was talking to the angel or something, and I thanked the Lord. It's like, wow, thank you for giving me that thought. And he said to me, he said, River, you've submitted yourself to me, the Lord, the Father. You've submitted to yourself. It's like, we have you. Your thoughts are ours. It's like, it's the unity that we walk in when we've given ourselves to the Lord, that we are one with him. Unless we're like really off course or something, but we are that. And so your words that are coming from you because of your unity and your connection with the Lord are him, but they're from you because you are becoming that. And of course, it doesn't matter if anybody reads them, because it's the frequency of the words coming into the physical that is it's the quantum change that we're all part of. And so, like, yay, go Renata.
Yes, that's awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Can I add something real quick?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was getting to about the frequency, because it's pearls and little butterflies that are being released.
That's so fun. Cool. Awesome. Lorado, you have anything you want to share?
Yeah, but I was quite a lot disturbed. There's I just came back home to my place. I was at my parents' house for 2 weeks, and this is our second night here. Hey, there's stuff that are biting us on the bed. So I just killed two while we were engaging, and I'm now distracted. I keep looking. Sorry for that. But in my time of trying to engage, because I really tried to get back, I had a lot of questions about during the day. I was singing a song that was saying that we are portals to, like, where heaven releases things through us to the world. And I was wondering, yes, how that does it happen? I thought portal is just a gateway of us going to heaven, or going from another world to another world, or going to, maybe now I'm in America, suddenly 2 seconds, and now I'm here in South Africa. So while I was taking, surrendering I was taking a seat of rest in Yeshua, and this very same seat, I surrender it back to him, and that he may rule and reign over my life. In that process, he kind of like explained how he becomes a portal through me. And it was answering my questions. It's like I have questions during the day, and the time I engage, he answers those questions. And as I was engaging, I was like, my angels, I know that the Father told me my angels and Hendrik, and I tried to Google the meaning. I couldn't get the meaning of their names. It was not even in the Bible. And I was like, Father, please tell me their functions. What do they do? Maybe I hope it relates with something that I am or that I do or that I should focus on, so that we start building a relationship of some sort, something we can connect and talk about and just have a foundation of a relationship from. And that's when I also got distracted. I couldn't get much, but I was like also complaining that my car a week ago, on the wheel cap, there's a logo of the car. It was stolen while I was doing my hair at the salon. And my question was, where are my angels? Where are they? But then Christine answered and said that probably that morning I didn't activate them. And now there's a bug here on my right hand side of my bed that I've killed. My angel, why didn't you kill that bug? Why didn't you tell me that bug's in this bed when I was coming back? So it was a lot of exchange of words that I was coming more mostly on my side. Frustration as well, wondering where they're coming from. But it was funny, it was interesting, and I loved how my communication relationship is growing with the Father, especially when you get a feedback. It's beautiful, it's amazing, and I just grow more and more in my Father. Unlike being coming from a place of behaving like an orphanage where you always shrinking yourself and being scared to make a mistake, but now I feel free. I'm like a child who's happily in my Father's house. So it's amazing. It's been an amazing year and experience. So yes, thank you guys.
That's awesome. Thanks, Lorado. Cool.
Can I
Thank
ask a
you.
question before we move off, Lorado? I just want to know, what does your t-shirt, what does your sweatshirt say?
I don't even remember. I don't know if you
Brooklyn?
can see.
Brooklyn.
Yeah, I think it's Brooklyn. Yeah, I'm quite a fan apparently, all the way from here.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Wearing her South African headpiece with a Brooklyn sweatshirt.
Yes.
I love it. Multicultural. Cool.
Yes.
Global.
Karen, I have a question. Do you have anything that you want to share?
Well, I actually did encounter some of my angels. They all just started talking to me. I actually wasn't. They started talking to me and introducing themselves and asking me questions. Let's see. I wrote them down. Now, Meshach is his name, and so he said that he was there. And then there's a one called Harmony, and then there's one called Populous. Have you ever heard of that? Populous.
Nope.
Did I get it right?
I don't know. I hate when you ask me that, as if I know every angel. How am I supposed to know? Okay.
Well, those are three of them that I heard from, and so they were introducing themselves to me. And so I asked them, "Oh, what do you do? And what do you do?" And so it was good.
That's awesome. Man, I'm jealous of you guys who get to, see all these multiple ones when I saw it over and over and over and over for just one. That's so cool. I love it. Very awesome. All right. Well, guys, we've gone way over, but it's been such a pleasure today. So I will talk to you guys next week. Make sure and engage with each other, okay? All right, bye, guys.
Love you.
Love you.